Hello, it's TruthSOSeeker here. I'm back with another game of Halo Wars for you guys. Gonna be doing another ATRIOX game here, and I'm playing against, I think, pretty skilled player, Jeff Kills. He's generally pretty high on the leaderboards. I don't know where he's at actually right now, but he's definitely a good player, and he plays as Decimus here, and I still haven't really decided where I put Decimus in terms of strength. He definitely has some really strong options, and his mid and late game are quite powerful. The fact that he can heal his units while he's attacking and they get the attack and speed buff is really good. I haven't really messed with him on this channel much yet, and I may do it, I'm not sure. But this game, I think, shows a big contrast between these two leaders, because ATRIOX is usually a very defensive leader, because, you know, he expands and he tries to hold the expansions, whereas Decimus is, you know, generally really aggressive. So it's an interesting contrast of the two leaders. But anyway, I'm doing my, I guess, normal-ish build, where I go double chopper at the start. I'm going to try and fight for nodes, fight for power, and kind of just get a scout off on what he's doing. I think that he has to do some sort of rush, because if he doesn't, then I'm going to outproduce him, and I should have a better eco, a bigger army, and all that good stuff. So I do manage to get the ram off on here. He tries to ram me, but his chopper is special, and I actually end up backing up and avoiding the ram. There seems to be a glitch with choppers where if you are in the backup animation, then you actually, for some reason, can't ram. It's really stupid how that's even a thing, but apparently it's a thing. And if you noticed right at the end, whenever he was just about to ram me, he actually wasn't able to. Also, whenever I was attacking those sentinels, apparently my guys decided to start tapping instead, which honestly is, I mean, it's fine, but like sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. It's really kind of dumb how that works. There almost should be really like another button input or something. Okay, so I've pretty much, it looks like, secured the power. I think I understand why my opponent didn't go for the power in the middle. I mean, I did get a ram off, and since I went double chopper, if he were to have tried to contest the power directly, then, I mean, he does with a grunt here, but a grunt's a grunt. It's 100 supplies. But I can understand why he wouldn't want to, because he'd be basically, if he were to also build a chopper, he'd be 1.5 choppers more or less to my 2. So I definitely understand it. Now I have my second leader point coming online here, so I can expand now and try and hold the expansion. And this is important because as ATRIOX, if you get the expansion up, you basically can immediately upgrade it for, I think, 162 power, and it takes like 12 seconds. And if I can manage to get a turret finished on top of that, I'm able to upgrade the turret in like 5 seconds, and it's much cheaper. So my opponent's actually on a timer right now to actually hit my base, and if he doesn't time his attack right, if he doesn't hit me at the correct time, or if he waits too long, then it's very likely I'll be able to secure the base. You see the base is just finishing now. I suppose maybe I could have tried to go engineer on my main. Or go Apex on my main to make engineers. I figure I could just do it on my expansion, so I didn't worry so much about it. But yeah, you see he has a big group of choppers and grunts coming in here. I'm just finishing the base, and you see, like, I immediately was able to upgrade it, and it's going to finish really soon, so he had to hit when he did. Otherwise, this wasn't going to work. Unfortunately, these grunts are just going to more or less just fall off, because they won't be able to stand against upgraded choppers. I do manage to get that ram. I'm going to try and build a turret as well. And it's worth noting right now that this base is not going to live. So long as he appropriately attacks, I don't actually have anything that can stop him from destroying this base. As interesting as it is, because he'll always be able to deny turrets, and I have no contestation for his choppers. This was actually a mistake I made in this game too. I'm lucky, I suppose I could say I'm lucky he didn't notice, is that I didn't have a turret built on my on my main base at the time, and if he were to push, that would have been detrimental. So yeah, I am going engineers, and for good reason. I need to try and hold this base together as long as I can. The longer I hold it together, the longer I'll have my main time for my main and my expansion base to get developed. See, I'm actually going to be able to get that one turret finished here. My engineer's being dumb and is killing the main instead. So basically that turret's just going to fall off because I couldn't heal it, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, I'm going to do what I can to try and hold this base together. And you see, he has grunts in his squad now, which is what he needs to do. I mean, he could have also just tried mass choppers and worked like that, perhaps, but I could see why grunts would be nice too. He needs to get to a point where he has enough units that he can actually aim at the base, or just outright stop me from being anywhere on the base to heal it. Because so long as I have any point, any spot I could sit with the engineers and they're healing the base, then I can stay on the base, and he's more or less not going to be able to kill it, because you just can't put enough DPS on a base to heal while engineers are healing. It's just, engineers heal crazy fast when it comes to healing them all. See, I'm actually going to be able to get another turret up, but at this point, he has way too much stuff out right now to where, even with this turret as it is, like, he's got the jetpack brutes too, I'm just not going to be able to actually maintain turrets at this point. He has too many units for one turret to stop it. See, I'm queuing Tech 2. I know I need to get more turrets up. I honestly should be getting more. I think I'm kind of slacking on that. You see, I have enough money to, so it's just me kind of, I guess, just slacking on that. I'm getting turrets on my expansion as well, because I figure once he drops this base, see, I'm actually just pulling the engineers off and basically just letting this base fall. I should have stayed on it longer, to be honest. I think I pulled off too early. But yeah, I'm going to have 3 turrets ready whenever I go in, whenever he comes in for this push. And I basically was expecting to have 3 because I was thinking I could build a shield, but honestly, seeing how hard this rush hit, I really should have just, built 4 turrets and had it so 4 turrets were ready. I think that may have been what I was thinking at the time. But yeah, I go ahead and I throw up a shield on the engineer because I want to, try and tank what these jetpack brutes are doing. But yeah, he's aiming the turret down, so I'm going to drop a suicide grunt squad to try and hit, and it's worth noting that you really shouldn't drop the suicide grunt squad unless it's really needed. Because it'd be better if you could just get bulwark and avoid dropping it altogether, but I think since I wasn't quite, if I had all 4 turrets on this base, I could see maybe more reason to just get say a bulwark instead. But it definitely plays its part. I had the base locked, by the way, because even though I have a hunter, I mean, if I were to have unlocked that thing with all that stuff in the back, it would have just died instantly. And again, though, like, I'm trying to tell my engineers to heal the apex there, but they just wanted to heal the turret. And it's really annoying how they don't listen to your command when it comes to healing actual buildings, or just units in general. Sometimes they just heal what they prioritize as most important. And it's kind of dumb, to be honest. I really wish that wasn't a thing. But I did manage to push the rush off, which I think is really good. Like, it's really good that if you're able to push it off and maintain your base, like your main base, and I mean, you see I'm on an expo, and I'm getting my triple back now, or what was my second base. And I'm sitting really well, because I'm mass producing Tech 2 units at this point, Hunters, Rangers, and Banshees. And I'm just able to go in for a big push now, and the problem is he really invested a lot of stuff into that rush. He went jetpack brutes, went heavy choppers, went engineers. I don't know if he went engineers or not. I can't actually remember. I don't know. He may not have went engineers, but yeah, I'm going and I'm just checking here to see what all he has. I see he still has these choppers. I think I saw an engineer there, but I'm gonna try and scout out with my chopper to see what his base is looking like. But the fact that he isn't on an expo, and I'm on, I want to say a triple, and then that base isn't really developed, but I'm on a triple, more or less. And for him to still be at this stage, I think it's a really good position for ATRIOX to be in general, if he can get to this spot. So yeah, I'm queuing up that. I'm getting ready. I probably am just waiting to get a little bit more pop together. Because, again, and I've mentioned this, like, you need to understand when to push and when not to. Pushing is totally okay right now, but the fact is that I am way ahead of him in terms of eco, and if I can just outproduce him with Tech 2 units, then that's going to really benefit me. See, he has Banshees here. I think we're on the same tech, actually. I don't think I'm tech tier 1. But I managed to actually get a Banshee kill off of him, and I managed to save mine, so it's basically 300 free supplies right there, and I'll take basically anything I can get. So I'm just healing this up. Am I maybe including Locusts in my army? I'm not sure. I may be including Locusts. Or Reavers. Okay, so I'm just putting Reavers in. That's fair, I suppose. I could also see me putting a Locust in or two, just to try and go for some potential base damage, but the thing is Locusts, anytime you're gonna go Locust, you need to be very careful, because Locusts do not, like, before they could really avoid combat, but they do not avoid combat now, and if you think that you can just outfight your opponent in terms of army, then it's often a good idea to do so. Like you see, I think I'm putting like 1 or 2 Locusts in for potential base trade bait, in a sense. And you can, if you also notice, I think this is also worth mentioning, is I'm building massive amounts of building killers. Hunters have good DPS on buildings. Banshees have good DPS on buildings. And I have a really big preference for doing this, because that way, not only can you have units that you can tank and fight decently, but they can also, do decent building damage in case of a base trade. So they're good in direct combat, they're good in base trading, and I think that's a really great thing to have in terms of unit ability. Now, I'm showing up to him here. I figure since I'm basically at full pop, I should be able to fight him. So I go in, I throw a Bulwark down, I have the Suicide Grunt ready, just in case. But it's looking like I'm actually not even going to need it here. So I just go ahead and get Dying Breath, because there's not really much else I could have done in terms of assisting the combat directly any further. And I could have easily just stayed and dropped that Expo, but I figured I would just go up to his main and start aiming that down. And also stopping, new troops from coming out, because I was figuring he would be building new troops and just having them outside of his base. So I figured I might as well try and hit that. And yeah, like, this game is basically over at this point. You can see his army just can't fight mine anymore. It's too developed. And this, I think, it just shows the interesting dynamic of ATRIOX versus Decimus, because the Decimus will hit you really hard in the beginning, but if you can manage to fend it off, then I feel that potentially, if they don't do enough damage, this is an example of what happens if the Decimus doesn't do enough damage. But if he does do enough, then it gets more interesting, because the Decimus late game is really quite interesting. But that's basically this game, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in another one, so take care.